What's up, everybody? This is Presto
CorporalNosaj.
And you are listening to episode 57 of the Nintendads Podcast. Hold on, I have to phase back into this reality. Whew. Hi, everybody. This is a very special episode. Tonight, we are sitting down around the table to roll our dice. More than listening and watching to the Nintendads Podcast. We are reviewing Demio, the new VR tabletop game from Resolution Games. And full disclosure, this episode is sponsored by Resolution Games. Super big shout out to you guys. We partnered up with them to get a review copy of the game. And we are doing a giveaway for 2 copies of Demio on PC this Friday, when we will be live streaming the game and hopefully playing with some of you. Now, Corporal, you may ask, you said you're giving it away on PC, but you also just said it's a VR game. What's that about?
I would ask that. I don't ask questions.
Yes, so the big news is that Demio is launching their PC version of this game tomorrow, which I don't know if it's a midnight release. It might technically be in like a couple hours. Yo, Jason, Xkaze, Kyle, good evening, sir. Jessica, welcome in. Yes, they are launching Demio on PC tomorrow, on Steam and Steam VR. It already is in the Oculus Quest store and the Rift store, and it's going to have crossplay, guys.
Yeah, it is.
Out of the box, you are going to be able to crossplay a tabletop Dungeons & Dragons style game in VR with people playing on PC. Okay. We will get there. We will explain all this stuff, what the game is about, how it works. But first, we need to explain this little thing right here, April Adventures. So, Corporal, why don't you explain April Adventures as our resident dungeon master here?
So, every game that we have played thus far, and we have talked about here on the Nintendads Podcast, has been, in some way, shape, or form, an adventure RPG style game.
For April.
For April. The month of April. So, what that means is that we are theming the entire month around RPG adventure games. And as you can tell with the beautiful dice that's been displayed and shared, and the games that we have talked about and we have shown on our stream so far have also been very much inspired by D&D and tabletop games. So, 14. So, that means even I will admit that's cool. Nice.
Yeah, so
chat. So for the entire month, all of our games in some way, shape, or form are themed around the adventure theme, as well as in some way, shape, or form connected to tabletop games or D&D games.
Dungeons and Dragons, RPG, kind of stuff like that. We kicked off April Adventures with Tiny Tina's Wonderland, which I am fully addicted to. I have the Borderlands collection for the Switch back there. But we are continuing the adventures with tonight's review of Demio, and then we're going to be streaming it and doing a giveaway for 2 copies of the PC version, which also work in Steam VR. So, you know, you can double dip like that if you have a headset, or if you're getting a headset or not. And again, this is brought to you by Resolution Games, who kindly provided us with the review and giveaway copies. Let's paint the picture first. Hey, Kathy Smith, thank you for liking the stream. So, an intro to Demio. Do you have the mettle to survive a monster-infested dungeon crawler that immerses players in the classic fantasy RPG genre like never before? Time to find out. Terrors and treasure await you as you and your band of warriors brave the corrupted catacombs of the Black Sarcophagus, unforgiving sewers of Sunderhaven in the realm of the Rat King, and the Deerich Forest in Roots of Evil in this truly authentic tabletop experience. Thank you. That was a 20 on my performance check, so. Anyway, dramatics aside, yeah, Demio is a badass Dungeons and Dragons in VR game. But before we really roll for initiative here, let's do the usual spiel. Corporal, what are you playing? What are you playing this week?
Truthfully, Demio. I mean, this week we've been playing Demio. I played a little Tiny Tina's, and I need to play more Tiny Tina's. But my time has been like playing Demio, playing the different classes of Demio, playing the different dungeons, playing the demo version, playing the real game, doing the Hangout, like seeing all the cool things that are coming to offer. So yeah, Demio. Yeah,
same. I've been basically bouncing between Tiny Tina's Wonderland and Demio. Slightly tempted by the Lego Star Wars Skywalker saga is out.
Yes. So for those of you who've been following us for a while, take a shot.
Yeah.
We have actually talked about this game I think over a year ago. This game has gone through some delays.
Dom, what's up?
But if you don't know, this Star Wars saga is everything in our Skywalker saga is every game or movie, all of the historical events that have taken place following a Skywalker. So it's the new series, the Jar Jar Binks series, the original series.
The Jar Jar. I'm glad you labeled the entire prequel the Jar Jar Binks series. I'm sure anybody who loves the prequels will thoroughly appreciate that.
I couldn't think of what the word prequel, like, wasn't coming to mind.
But you remember Jar Jar Binks.
But I remember JarJar Binks. So, yeah.
So, yeah, it's a long game.
It's a lot. It covers a lot. So.
Speaking of a lot, what are you drinking this week?
I have Mountain Dew sitting next to me currently.
Mountain Dew.
And that's my go-to gamer drink. Come on now. But a lot of water and dragon's milk.
Water, that's a proper adventurer's diet right there. I've been drinking some victory beers, some Sour Monkeys out of this bad boy right here, my Nintendads red mini fridge that sits on top of my cube. That somehow this holds exactly 6 cans. Believe it or not. It's the fridge of holding. It's it's barely bigger than a 6-pack, but somehow fits a whole 6-pack. I don't know how. I still haven't been able to figure that out.
It's
but
voodoo.
It fits. Sour Monkey. Oh God, Dom. Sour. I love Dom. We have similar tastes in drinks. Dom made me I have to do a shout out to Dom. Dom made me a delicious cocktail last time I saw him, and did not make me do a pickleback. So, round of applause. Oh no! Wait, no, he did. No, he did make me do a pickleback. Never mind. I take that back. The cocktail he made was delicious, but he also made me do a pickleback. Damn it. Okay. Anyway. So, Demio. What is Demio? Demio is... So, imagine this. You put on your headset, right? You put on your headset, and you are greeted by an excellently voice-acted, by the way, host, and you are put basically in front of a virtual tabletop. And on this tabletop is a dungeon that you can sort of see the shadowy outlines of. You pick your class, which we will get into, but there's a couple different characters. You pick your character, you place your little miniature down on the table, and the game begins. You can move your character around. and every action, every roll, every attack, everything that happens is animated, and it's in VR, so you can walk around the table, you can shift your view, you can zoom all the way in so you're inside the dungeon, you can zoom all the way out so you can see what's around the corners. It is a proper tabletop experience in VR that I've never seen before.
When you say you can zoom in, like, let me tell you, the game starts out and you are human-sized, table-sized. Proportions are equal. So when you look down at this tabletop, you're like, oh yeah, tabletop. And if you go through the tutorial, it's going to teach you how, if you're in VR, how you can grab the table and expand, and it zooms in and pulls in. Yes, Dixie loves the game so much.
She would chew up the miniatures for sure.
Yes, she would. But it allows you to zoom in to get as close to the character, the little miniature that's on the game board. Let me tell you, the detail, like you can see the moss on the stones. Like, it zooms in so much.
Yeah, you can really get in there to where the figurines are, like, bigger than you, essentially. Yeah. Like, you're, like, looking up. It's wild.
The graphics are amazing. They really are.
And that, I mean, I would probably get to this at some point further into the review, but let's get this out of the way. A lot of VR games look like tech demos. Like, yeah. I would say the majority of the games. Hey, Melissa, welcome in. I would say the majority of the games in VR, slowly not becoming the majority, but a lot of games in VR look like games from like 10 years ago, are kind of jittery. This is one of the few games in VR that has like the polish of a game you would expect to see in 2022.
Yes.
And that is it's tough to like understand the significance of that if you don't have a VR headset and you haven't played a lot of games, but the difference in the feeling and like the little quality of life things when you boot up into a game that's fully like developed and thought through and the production value is there, it just makes the experience like 1,000 times better in like a bunch of different ways. We lost Corporal for a second. He's back. He's doing death saving throws right now. He's coming back. He's trying. He's alive.
Apparently my video card just did an update.
Roll. You roll the 1.
Everything video just shut down. The screens blinked. My second monitor turned off, and then everything slowly came back. I must have been
the excitement of doing live episodes, everybody. So before we get too far into this, because I can just see a lot of people in their head being like, "Well, I don't have a VR set, so this whole episode is a moot point to me." So I started learning about this game, and I was like on the fence about getting it, and then I saw their roadmap for what's to come, and we'll get further into the roadmap. But one of the points in the roadmap was they were getting ready to launch a PC version of the game that you can play on a computer, and it's one of the games that you don't need to play in VR. It's amazing in VR, but you don't need to play it in VR. It works amazingly well as its own game, VR aside. And the PC version of the game comes out tomorrow. And it is fully...
It's like we planned this.
I know, right? So weird. And it is fully... It's got full crossplay support with VR. So this is one of the only games that I can think of that one person can be playing in their headset and their friend who doesn't have a headset can play with them on PC. The only other game I know that you can play VR playing with somebody who doesn't have a VR set is Akron, which is another game made by Resolution Games. So these guys know what they're doing. So yes, even if you don't have a VR headset, don't leave. Stay tuned. The whole game review applies to you too, because you can play on PC. And it is absolutely worth playing on PC. It's mind-blowing to play in VR, but it's still amazing to play on PC. Okay. So we covered the basic premise. You're sitting at a table. You're a digital person. You have your miniature, and you move around. Corporal, you want to? What do you want to say? What else? How else can you explain sort of the concept before we dig into the characters and skills and all that kind of stuff?
The game is very much so when you play D&D, it's a verbal story. D&D does not need to be played with any visuals. You can go out and buy maps, and you can buy miniatures, and you can buy all these things to enhance the visualization of the story that you are building. But the game very much is a story, verbal-driven game with your imagination to take place. Besides the fact that you now have hey Melissa, you have a visual tabletop so that you can see everything. The story is actually really cool, and we're going to get into a lot of that with the rest of our show here. But don't let the term D&D to sway you from the visuals of the game that this actually offers.
Yeah. Oh, and that's probably a good point too, is a lot of people, myself included, have wanted to play D&D or a D&D-like game over the years. This is, in D&D, you need somebody to run the show. You need a dungeon master. You need a dedicated person whose only job, they don't really play, they kind of manage the game. In Demio, the game is the dungeon master. Like, there's a person, I forget her name. She has a name. But she's this cool lady who kind of walks you through what to do. And then during the game, like, you'll make your move, and she'll be like, you enter the first floor of the crypt and wonder how you're going to get to the next level. And then, like, after your turn, she goes, okay, it's the monster's turn now. What's going to happen? And it's just like this little back, like, narration, but it keeps it very, I don't know, it's just, to me, it's, like, wonderfully in theme with the experience.
Yeah.
So it's D&D that you can play without a dungeon master, which is very cool. And the goal, I guess to understand, like, what you're trying to do, because D&D is very, like, open-ended. She's the dungeon narrator, yeah, basically. What's up, Jeremy? By the way, welcome in.
Welcome in.
So each level, so there's campaigns, and the way you work through the game is you're on the game table, and you are fighting your way through sort of the dark, and you are trying to find the boss who has the key, and then you're trying to find the exit, which you need the key for.
Yes.
So you're moving around, and we'll get into the mechanics later. But yeah, the basic premise of it is you're moving around, you're trying to find the boss, beat the boss, get the key, head to the exit, mostly in one piece.
There's a fog of war that goes over the entire map. So in a traditional table, this is what I was getting to before, the graphics don't tell you too much because there's a fog of war that prevents you from seeing the rest of the table. You have to explore the dungeon to open up the rest of the table so you can see the entire dungeon. And what's even more beautiful about this is that you have a character that's in the map, and while he is able to, or you are able to see everything that's at the top, the enemies and the chests and the doors that are available to you are really only available to you based off of the line of sight of the character that's in the game. So there could be a character that's behind the wall who you won't know he's there until you get into the room. So it does really well.
Yeah, I thought I really got the line of sight like dynamic of it. I think it was when you and me were playing, and I moved forward onto like a balcony or something, and all of a sudden we saw like 20 monsters, and I immediately panicked until I realized that all of these monsters were in the courtyard below us. So we weren't really interacting with them, but from my character's vantage point, now I had line of sight to this huge wide open area below me. Courtyard. And I was like, that is so cool. I did not realize like verticality applied to the line of sight. And then I also realized, because I was playing the archer class, that I could just start picking these guys off in a super cheeky way. Jeremy remembers that, yes. Yeah, so let's get in. One of my favorite like parts of like any of these games is picking a class and geeking out. So let's get into the classes.
Okay, so like D&D, there's different classes that you can choose for your character to play. In Demio, it takes the same aspect. So you have a wizard, you have an archer, you have a knight, you have assassin, and what just came out is the bard. So those are your 5 classes. Your wizard obviously does spells and area of effect damage. Your archer has distance damage with a bow. Your assassin does stealth, sneaky attacks. So if he's able to pick somebody off from behind, he can do some pretty extra damage for stealth attacks, as well as sneak behind areas so he can't be seen. And the bard does a lot of buffs, which is pretty exciting. There's one... Oh, the knight. I mentioned the knight. I think he's really called the guardian.
The guardian, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't labeled his knight here, but the knight is very much your paladin or your tank.
Tank, for sure.
And well, I mean, a paladin can kind of be tanky. And
it has some healing. It has some healing abilities.
It has some healing effects. So I think he's more of a paladin than he is like a barbarian.
He's a guardian. He's a guardian.
Yes, but so those are when the game first came out, we had only access to the 4: wizard, archer, guardian, and assassin. And then just recently they released the bard, which it's something I love about this game and these developers. They're consistently listening to the fan base and growing and adding and gaining things. So at this point, there's already announcements of more things to come, and the fact that they've added a bard is really, really cool.
Yeah, Jeremy said he played a Cleric Paladin in 3.5, Cleric Paladin in 3.5, and a monk in 5th edition for D&D.
D&D.
Yeah, so you'll be right at home with this. The wizard. So the wizard does AoE damage, and also, I guess. So let's explain some of the combat, so there's context. So your character every turn. You have 2 actions, and you can use your action to move, just like D&D. You have a movement action. You have a certain amount of spaces you can move. If you're next to an enemy, you can do an opportunity attack, like a melee attack. And then you have your hand of cards. Yes, this is a card-based combat system, but doesn't focus. It's not as focused on deck building as like what you would expect from a card-based combat system. But basically, you start out with a hand of your class ability cards, and you play them. Each card costs an action. There's some cards that don't cost any actions, like healing potions and items and stuff. And once you play that card, it's gone. So if you're a wizard and you have an area of effect fireball, you cast it, that card is gone. As you get XP, you fill your XP bar, and when your XP bar levels up, you get a random card for your class. So there's some adaptability. But each class has one class action card that you always have that you can use once per turn. And that, to me, is really what defines each of these classes, because they each have their own specific set of cards, but the most important is the class action. So the wizard has an action that is a ranged lightning bolt that does a small amount of damage, but stuns one enemy for the turn. So if you have a big bad monster, your wizard is sort of damage mitigator control, damage control. The archer has a ranged arrow attack, 2 cards that refresh on every turn, so they never go away. They're not a one-use card. So you can do range damage. Guardian has 5 points of armor that you can repair each turn. That's its class card. Assassin has...
Its health is more than that of everybody else.
Yes, every character starts with 10 health. The Guardian starts with 10 health and 5 armor. So essentially like 15 hit points. But that 5 armor you can always repair. So very tanky. It's the only class that can consistently heal itself, basically. Yeah. Assassin can go stealth. Ledarius. Ledarius. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for dropping the 100 stars. Appreciate that, man.
Darius,
welcome in.
My friend. And if we butchered your name,
yes, we definitely did. And shared, thank you. The assassin has stealth. He can stealth. And then the bard has a buff that it can apply that stacks. You can stack the buff up to 3 times, and it's like damage mitigation, extra damage, and then different things. So, welcome, Love VR Gaming. Awesome. You're in the right place. If you're
definitely in the right place.
We're the Nintendads Podcast. We focus on games for adults and Nintendo-loving parents, and we are talking about Demio, obviously.
And if you follow our page, you might find that we're going to play a VR game this coming Friday. So join in.
And we're going to be giving away 2 copies of Demio on PC on Friday, starting around 8:30. Not going to tell when we're going to do the giveaway, but it's probably going to be near the beginning so that people can play with us.
Did we get those codes yet, Presto?
I think, well, the game doesn't, the codes I don't think exist yet because the game hasn't come out yet, technically.
So we may, if I read the email correctly, we may have to request which code we are requesting for. So there may be some wiggle room there.
Yeah.
Whether it's for a VR or for the PC version.
Yeah, if somebody wins and they want a code on Oculus, we can definitely make that happen too.
Yeah.
But it's mostly to celebrate the PC launch because now our PC brethren that don't have headsets yet can play with us, nerds.
This game comes natively cross-platform play. Us on Oculus and you on PC means we can still play together.
So good! I really want to see that become like the standard for more games.
Yes.
Anyway, I will let you go over the next section, which is... Wait, hold on. I have to ask, what's your favorite class so far?
Because Bard just came out and I got to play it for the first time the other day, I'm leaning towards Guard. But I'll be honest with you, I've watched a lot of videos and have played a bunch enough to know that Assassin can be a beast.
Assassin. Assassin is too much pressure for me to play because, like, a lot of the times the team is, like, relying on you to, like, stealth and find something or make the move and, like, crit the enemy and, like, it's too much pressure to be Assassin.
I am very much a healing... I only play games either as, like, the Barbarian, the tank who goes in and just destroys everything, or the Doctor who stays in the back and provides heals for everybody. So I'm Guardian or a Bard anyway.
You're a Bard. You're a Bardbarian, is what you are.
I am a Bardbarian. That's like my true D&D character is a Bardbarian. So that's or Barbarian Bard. I don't know, but we talked about how this developer and the game creators are very much in tune with the community. There's recently a Q&A done with the community manager, and I'm not going to attempt to ruin and butcher his name, but he revealed that they, besides the roadmap that they have just recently released, that there is still going to be more levels and more classes eventually being added to the game.
That's so exciting.
And some concept art that has been revealed around this time indicate that there's a possibility of a scholar, an engineer, an alchemist, a priest, a necromancer, and a barbarian coming to the game. So a bard was on this list, but a bard was actually added to the game. So I'm very excited to see the new characters. And if they've got a list of scholar, engineer, alchemist, priest, necromancer, and a barbarian, like that's at least 6 things right there. And they're talking about adding more levels to the game. I can't wait. This game is going to be so filled with stuff.
Yeah, it's a good time to get in on like the ground floor of it. Sony's new stance on crossplay. It's about time. Sony, I will give Sony for now opening the gates to crossplay, but like, damn, like they took long enough. Like,
Yeah. Totally.
I would love to see. I would love to see an engineer with like some turret, because there are a couple like turret, like sort of like there's summons you can do. You can summon elementals from different classes. I think an engineer would be really cool because so much of the game is about positioning and sort of area control, and I think that would be really strong. Ooh, Anthony wants to know our favorite Demio level.
Oh.
So I'll be honest, I've played each of the levels once. I have played the first area the most, Black Sarcophagus. I will say I like the vibe of the Roots of Evil map aesthetically, but I booted into it one time by accident and was immediately terrified and was like, I'm not ready. It was like the second or third time I played, and I was like, I am not ready for this. And I went back. So I'm most comfortable with the Black Sarcophagus. I'm very looking forward to playing through Roots of Evil, but I'm probably going to wait to play through it with people. I haven't cleared any of the campaigns yet. I keep dying. It's hard.
Yeah. So me trying to do it, that's one thing that I'll say. Me trying to play this game solo, the game is challenging. I don't want you to think at one point that this is going to be some easy walk in the park. This game definitely will throw its punches hard at you.
You got to play your roles correctly. Yeah, an artificer. Yeah. An artificer is what I'm talking about. Okay. Yes, artificer is what I want to see.
Because of the card-based mechanics, as you level up, you gain a card, you open up chests, you can gain a card, and each one of these cards are different based off of the specific class that you have. I noticed that there has been a lot of games that are coming out that have a lot of card-based mechanics. Card being a very tactile retro, retro I guess is the right term, style of gameplay, and we're talking like Magic the Gathering card style games or like actual deck of card games, but there's a lot of video games that are incorporating card based mechanics, and I think that's exciting to see. I think that's a new layer to gaming. I'm very excited to see it in this type of a game. Just wanted to know what your thoughts were.
I think, and I remember you saying this when we were talking about like what we were going to talk about in the episode, and in thinking about it, I think I understand why. I think I understand why cards as a system have become so prevalent, and I think it's the tactile thing. It's like it's something people know, right? So if you booted into Demio and they were like, here are your spell slots. Your spell slots hold 5 different abilities, and when you use them, it's over. Like, then your spell slot is empty, and you need to fill up your XP bar to fill your new spell slot with a new build. Like, you've already confused a lot of people. But if you say, here's your hand of cards. When you want to play a card, play your card. After you play the card, it goes away. People get that. That's a very familiar thing. And especially because this is sort of emulating a tabletop experience, having another tactile thing for Demio works. And then I think the same thing. It's an element of familiarity. It's a system people understand. Okay, I have a hand of cards and I play my cards, versus here are abilities, or here are, ability points or magic power or, energy or whatever. It's like cards is a simple system. The other thing is cards introduce the idea of deck building or using cards gives you sort of a randomization thing where you have control, but you need to be adaptable. So I know the cards in my deck, I know all the possibilities, but I don't know what card I'm getting next, and that's exciting. That kind of scratches like the gambling itch in my lizard brain. It's also, I don't know how we've made it this far into the episode without mentioning this, but Demio is randomized as hell. Every time you boot into a level, it is a different layout than the last time you played it. The enemies are different. The enemies are in different places. It's new every single time you play it, which is...
You're never going to have the exact same experience, which is
awesome. What class fits y'all best? So, Corporal is the bard, for sure. That's him.
I love being a barbarian. That's who I am at nature. I am a tanky type person in real life. I am the guy who's asked to take down a wall, and the wall is gone. That's what I do. But where close that mouth. What are you gonna say? Go ahead and say it.
Okay, I wasn't going to, but now you're asking me to say it, so don't get mad. In our streams where we have offered drinks 4 stars, you have decidedly not been the tanky character.
Really?
Yes.
Probably because
you are more of a glass cannon when it comes to that type of situation.
Okay.
Anyway, carry on.
I tend to play the barbarian tank type character, or the healer, the guy who stands back and provides buffs and heals to his teammates in order to keep them alive. I have the more of a bard atmosphere to me than I think anything else. But go ahead.
More the monk. I am always drawn to mage classes like magic, big spells, big damage, fire, lightning, ice, all the typical like magic. I did a sorcerer for my first D&D character. In this though, I'm finding myself more drawn to the archer just because the line of sight you get on some of these attacks is ridiculous, and I really enjoy positioning myself and picking off enemies like from like super far away. And then contrast to that, I also do really like the Guardian because I really like being able to get into a situation, sustain myself, sort of create space and security for my party, and then just like whip out the whirlwind and knock everybody back. So it's pretty much like one extreme or the other. I would say I'm learning the game more with Archer. Like when I've played with groups, I've played with Archer, so I can kind of hang back. Guardian, if your Guardian doesn't know what they're doing and they like make a mistake and enter a room or turn a corner at the wrong time, it can put your whole party in jeopardy. And I feel like, again, I'm not ready for that responsibility. I haven't played the game enough. But yeah, Archer does some... Yeah, Archer with +3 damage is serious. Yes. Yeah, yes.
Totally.
Archer Bard, and then we just need a tank. That's the thing. You really need, you need your rolls. Because if you play 2 squishy things, you're going to get squashed. And if you don't you need them. Gamaliel, thanks for coming in. Welcome in to the stream.
Welcome. So, I was going to say, one particular move that the wizard has that I think can be, if used properly, very clutch, is the ability to teleport to a different space on the map.
Yes. That's like a game. That's a game changer for sure. But
change the tide.
If you use it wrong, as I have, it's a death sentence. It's a death sentence for sure. Yeah, you can. Yeah, you like that you can give other people potions. Yeah, you can give. You get potions that you can give to any character like within line of sight or a certain range. So anybody can be a support class, really. So let's get a little more into the structure of Demio. So when you play Demio, right now there are 3 campaigns out: Black Sarcophagus, Realm of the Rat King, and it's not Realm of the Rat King. What is it? It is Realm of the Rat King, and then Roots of Evil, which is kind of like
I
evil.
like Realm of the Rat King. I think Realm of the Rat King is fun.
I've read in several places that Realm of the Rat King is the hardest campaign to beat.
I mean, probably. I died, so.
So you choose your campaign, and then each campaign has 3 levels to it. So you have a giant board, you find the boss, you get the key, you go to the exit, then you get a reprieve, you get to spend your gold and shop around, buy cards, buy potions, buy whatever, and then you go to level 2. Level 2, same thing, boom, and then level 3, you work your way and you find the endgame boss, who I have not made it to in any of the campaigns yet, so I can't tell you what happens after, but that's probably a good thing because we don't want to spoil anything.
Definitely the hardest, Anthony, yes.
Yeah, Rat King is definitely the hardest. Good to know. See, that's what I'm starting off with. Black Sarcophagus. I'm just getting my bearings still, even though I've played like half a dozen times. The modes. Corporal, tell us about the modes. The different modes.
The different modes.
Because this game is obviously heavily predicated on multiplayer, but it does have single player.
It has it's a skirmish mode, which that's your single player mode, and as a single player you're able to then play as multiple classes. So you can choose all 4 classes that you want to go into battle with. And that's a good way to really try each one of them.
It's such a good, like, if you don't want to play with people right away, or like you don't have anybody who has the game, like any friends who have the game, it's such a great like introduction to mess around.
Yes, without a doubt. The multiplayer is fun as long as you're able to get a team who will stay in the game with you. A lot of times you have people who like jump in and jump out, and I've got someplace to go, and then you're left and you're by yourself. So like that can be a hassle. But the modes, the multiplayer mode allows you to team up with a whole bunch of other people, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, and the levels do scale in terms of difficulty based on how many players you have. It doesn't affect the amount of monsters on the board, but it does affect and scale their health, and I think their damage? I'm not sure. Anthony said he learned so much from multiplayer. Awesome. Anthony, we might be looking for party members to stream with on Friday, because we are both very much newbies, so definitely shoot us a message, or better yet, hop onto our Discord. That's where we sort of coordinate all our play sessions, so definitely hop into our Discord, and maybe you can jump into our stream on Friday. That'd be pretty cool. We need a mentor.
I'm going to add our link. Never generate link, copy link, minimize.
Such as throwing a bone to the hounds to make them allies and using lie to kill big slimes. Oh, I read about the lie.
I read about the bone, that you can use the bone to make certain monsters like fight for you or be kind to you. I thought that was pretty.
So they become like an allied. Like when you summon an elemental, they just kind of go around and like attack stuff.
Yeah, so if there is a hound who's there and you happen to have a bone, and you can just put that out there, that's a way to
that's cool. That's cool. Well, now I'm gonna have to have a bone at me at all times because I want a doggo. Something else that they added recently is the Heroes Hangout lobby, which is basically like a social space, you could call it, where other people go and you can like hang out and talk. Everybody has their little avatar. But then in the Heroes Hangout, there is a table and you can go to the shelf and grab one of the campaigns, put it on the table, and it will start a game. and then everybody takes their figurines, put it on the table, and then you're out of the Heroes Hangout into a game. That is so cool.
Yeah.
That's how I got into my first multiplayer game, and like I didn't exactly know what was going on. And I was like, oh, a table, and somebody's like, yeah, let's play. Boom. And I'm like, oh yeah, let's play. Like thinking just like, oh yeah, we'll just like mess around. And then all of a sudden I was in the dungeon, and I was like, what happened?
There's a wardrobe room so that you can change your avatar's outfits and shirts and stuff. And did you play with the archery field at all?
Yes, I suck. I'm terrible. I'll stick to playing Archer in the actual game.
Yeah, I watched a couple people play that they didn't do so hot.
I was not doing so hot.
And then there's the projector where there's a group chat type thing where a bunch of people can talk.
Yeah, I saw that. I didn't understand it. It looked like the projector was projecting the general chat from the Demio Discord.
That's what
I was like, is that real? Is that a real feed? Because that's amazing.
Right?
That's so cool.
It's also very dangerous.
Yeah, right. It's moderated.
Sure.
The other thing is, and I haven't played around with this too much because I haven't like gotten, I guess, far enough to really unlock many things. As you play and progress through the game, you unlock cosmetics. So every time you do an attack, you roll your dice to determine whether it's normal, whether it's a miss, or whether it's a crit. And you can get different colors and skins for your dice. You can get different colors and skins for your figurines, for, I think, your gloves in the game, like your character's gloves.
Your face, and if I'm not mistaken, for the board, the table itself.
Oh, really?
I even think you can get different skins, or at least maybe they talked about announcing this with later updates. You can get different backgrounds. So you're no longer in the basement of your house. You can get like different areas.
Yeah. That's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I listened to that somewhere in a video from their.
That is super cool. I need to get on my grind and unlock some cosmetics. I'm a sucker for cosmetics. Winning and losing is temporary, but looking cool is forever.
I mean, yes.
So what else is on this roadmap? Because it's one thing to have, and this is sort of like what made me get into this game. It's one thing to have a cool game, and it's just sort of like, okay, this is a cool game. Hopefully there's a community if it's multiplayer based. And I was sort of scoping out Demeo, and then I saw the roadmap. And the roadmap and the content and just the approach that Resolution Games is taking to like continue the growth of this game, that's what pushed me to buy it and like start playing it. And then the more I got into it, I was like,
the roadmap, the previous roadmap, because the game came out last year?
Yeah, in 2021.
The post-launch roadmap showed Roots of Evil being released in December, and then February being the player's hangout, and then April is when the PC edition was going to come out. They have also announced a PvP mode that's going to come out at some point in that original roadmap.
That's going to be crazy.
Right?
I can't imagine what that looks like. Like, that because the whole game is like cooperative dungeon crawler. I cannot imagine what PvP is going to look like.
If I had to imagine, it's going to be a like a map that you have to hunt down your other opponent.
Yeah, like an arena.
And you have to then use your skills and your cards in order to make those attacks and hopefully outwit your opponent.
There's gonna have to be some sort of either alternative movesets or balance changes to the characters to do PvP, because otherwise you could just pick Wizard and I get my first attack on you and stun you. No, because Wizard, you stun somebody for one turn. So you could essentially stun lock and chip away at somebody's health, which would not be very fair. And by the same token, well, no, I guess the Bard could probably hold his own. But I'm very interested to see what they do with PvP and what form it takes. They also announced that there are 2 more campaigns coming this year. Is that right?
Yeah, that's what I recall. A new adventure, which is going to be book 4, and then book 5.
This in 2022.
In 2022.
That's fucking crazy. That is crazy that they're doing 2 more campaigns this calendar. Also, I feel like I have PTSD from Nintendo being like, we're going to release something. Just kidding. You might see it. You might see a new trailer for it 2 years from now. 2 more campaigns this year is bonkers to me.
I'm trying to see if I can find the most recent post-launch roadmap. Everything that I'm finding is last year's roadmap. I was looking for something that was more current.
They did a video on the roadmap, but it wasn't a post. It was just a video, and it talked about like, oh, the Bard and Roots of Evil is now up. The Players Hangout. I think it was right when the Players Hangout was about to be released. And then, yeah, that talked about the PC version, which releases tomorrow on Steam and Steam VR. Also, the cool thing is, if you have, from what I understand, if you have the game on VR, you can also play it on PC. I'm not sure the logistics of how that's going to work yet.
That was a conversation. I haven't seen it heavily advertised, but
it was something that they said in the video, the community manager video.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure how that'll work, but it's dope.
So the most recent video came out March 25th of 2022, and that was the PC edition gameplay trailer video.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, there was something before that where I think it was like Developer's Diary or something. But anyway. Yeah, so the PC version comes out tomorrow. By the way, this game is $30.
3 complete adventures currently released, 5 playable characters currently available, crossplay with VR, and massive content roadmap coming. Steam Early Access comes out April 7th, which is the...
Tomorrow. Yeah. It's exciting. I'm going to suck so many people into this. Because it's like, oh, you want to play D&D? Yes. You don't have a DM? Cool. Go get Demeo.
And come and join me.
Yeah, go get Demeo. I will see you in VR or on PC. I think... So that's kind of like all the information. What else would you add as like a review? Whether if you had to score it or add like some like reviewer's conclusion sort of thing. Because I feel like on our reviews we go through everything about the game and we pepper in our opinion, but we never really like bookend it with like.
So if I were to have rated this out of 5, I don't feel like that's a good enough of a justice, because 4 out of 5 like sounds okay.
Rated out of 20. Rated out of a D20.
Where's my D20? It is a... No, it's better than that. So I'm going to rate it out of 10, and I'm going to say it's either an 8 or a 9, and that's only because I would like to see more maps, I would like to see more characters, and I would like to see more customization.
Yeah, I would also... I'm right there with you, an 8 or a 9. I would like to see more... Well, I can't say I would like to see more customization because the customization is there. I just haven't unlocked it yet. And I am a big fan of grinding to get my stuff. I'm a grinder. We've talked about this for Tiny Tina's. Yep. I like to grind to unlock stuff. So I'm there. I would like to see more classes. I don't know what else I would like to see. I've never been a huge fan of tactical RPGs. Like, I don't really like Fire Emblem. I don't really like, I can't think of any, like, triangle strategy where you move your player and you can attack so many blocks. This is the first game of this style that I absolutely love, and I think that's because they have done such a great job streamlining that
genre. Yeah.
Because, like, if you go into a tactical RPG, it becomes very overwhelming very quickly, and you feel like if you make a mistake, you're screwed, and it seems tedious. Those games seems tedious to me. This, VR crossplay aside, looking at it just as a game, it's super fun because it's very easy to learn. It's very easy to pick up, but man, it will kick your teeth in.
Yeah,
it's hard. It has a very low skill floor and a very high skill ceiling, and that to me is the trademark of a great game that you can grow into and improve at. Because if you take a player that's only played a couple times and you take a player who's played a bunch, you will see the performance difference, and that is hard to do, especially with RPGs, right?
So, Anthony, is there a specific character you would like them to release next? So, in the Q&A video by the community manager and how things were, I don't know if they were leaked or if they were revealed or what the manner was, but the list that was sort of like teased, Scholar, Bard was talked about at the time, but we know that got released and that's available now. Horist, Engineer, Alchemist, Priest, Necromancer, Thief, and Barbarian are the things that are revealed to be coming, besides more levels. I'll be honest with you, from that list, I think a Barbarian, like a true Barbarian, would be interesting, but I'm more like interested in what an Engineer or an Alchemist would be. Because I think that would be pretty cool. And to Presto's point, we talked about Engineer a little bit earlier in the video. Having an Engineer to lay out a turret or to call in like a pet or whatever
that'd be so strong.
Cordon off an alleyway or whatever.
Lockdown line of sights or traps or like somebody that's built, because other characters have like traps and like things like that. But if you had a character that their whole kit was built around that would be dope.
That'd be pretty cool. So I think Engineer would be one character that could really help change the dynamic of the play and the party. My only question about the Engineer is like, now this could be a theoretical question, but does Engineer take away from the medieval-esque atmosphere, or if it's done right, do you think it's more of like a tinkerer?
You could have like a gnome, the classic, like, think like World of Warcraft, like the gnome tinkerer that has like the little kind of like clockwork, like little bomb guys and stuff. I actually, now that I'm thinking about this, I think my dream class, the one that I would like to see and that I would probably pick up immediately, would be a druid. That you had the capability of going support in like sort of, the classic druid, fountain of healing, nature's blessing kind of things, like more of a primary healer role, but also had shape-shifting capabilities. So maybe in human form, you were more of a support class, and then your class card could be change form, and when you changed form, then you became like a bear, and you had a different set of cards that were more offensively based.
Ooh,
right?
That's interesting.
Yeah, you have the healer who has a heal, like, support thing, and then you also have a card that transforms you into a creature, and then when you're the creature, you have like an attack card, and you can change back. So like, sort of like, that would be what I would want.
You talked about healer, and I was like, well, that's probably what a priest will be, like divine healing type thing.
Yeah, I think, and I did this with Bard well, I don't think you want to necessarily pigeonhole a class into you're the support, all you do is heal, everything is your fault. Because Bard, Bard, like, if you get a shattering voice in the right situation, you do insane damage to groups of enemies. So I think Druid with half support skill set and then half, like, creature, werewolf, or whatever it's going to be skill set, that would be...
That's pretty interesting.
Resolution Studios! Listen to me!
We'll have to cut this section out of the video and just send them an email.
Send it. Yeah, so I guess, did you have a particular side quest you wanted to ask, or did Anthony just give us our side quest?
So, Anthony, we do or everybody who's watching, not just Anthony specifically, but Anthony specifically, we do a podcast stream just like this about twice a month, but then we do a gaming stream on Tuesdays with Presto solo, with me on Sunday solo, and then we do a co-stream on Fridays. So join us, and normally in our podcast we have a what you're drinking section, what you're playing section, the content or the news of the day, and then we have our side quest, which is usually a random question, sometimes related to what we're talking about, that's not a part of our original show notes. And you've just honorarily became the side quest question.
You're the side quest giver. You had an exclamation point above your head. Yeah. So that is our review of Demio. It's incredible for anybody looking for that Dungeons and Dragons tabletop experience in VR or on PC as of tomorrow. And again, this was sponsored. Grateful to Resolution Studios for providing a review copy of the game, and 2 copies to give away on Friday. We'll be starting our Friday night stream probably around 8:30. The shenanigans will begin on Facebook Gaming and on Twitch, and we are going to have... we've only done one game stream using VR so far, and it was a beast to set up. I'm hoping that this is going to be a little bit simpler. I think we have it figured out, but we should be good.
Definitely going to be doing more VR games and more VR streaming, because there's a lot of cool things that are coming to Oculus, and VR community is just drastically growing from when we first started 2 years ago. So we're going to be adding more VR content to our schedule. But this is going to be a fun stream come Friday. So tune in.
I'm very excited. Great job. Thanks for coming by, Anthony. Good to see you in the chat. I think you're new, right? I don't think you've been in the chat before, but welcome. If you want to listen to our past episodes, you can either watch them here on Facebook, or you can listen to our whole backlog of 57, this is episode 57, so 56 past episodes, and we're on Spotify, Anchor, Apple Music, Stitcher, Google Play, blah, blah, blah. We're on everywhere. We're on all the things, but most people just listen on Spotify. That's the main thing. But yeah, that's it. Corporal, do you have anything else you want to say?
No, I don't.
Really?
I don't.
Okay. All right. I think we should end with a roll.
Okay.
I think we should end with a roll. All right. One roll. No, you're not rolling with advantage. Roll them all. Roll them all.
No. Yes. But they're not all.
7. That's a shitty roll, but it's also my lucky number, so.
Pulling out all my D20s.
I will take it. 7. What'd you get? Like a million? You got many?
I got a 7, a 17, another 7, and then a 4, a 16, an 18.
Whoa! I can't believe you got that's some weird 7 vibes. We're connected. We're connected through the power of the internet. All right. Take care, everybody. We will see you on Friday. Go get Demio. Just go get it. Just do it. It's the right thing to do.
this episode is coming out because it's obviously live streamed today, but for those of you who are listening to it at home, this is April 6th. At the end of April, we are going to end our April Adventurers theme with a Dungeons and Dragons game.
An actual
game. Well, I will be the DM and Presto will be tortured by my evil ways. So join us, follow us, join our Discord, come be a part of the community, and it's going to be a blast.
Yep. All right. Peace out, y'all. See you next time.